Welcome back to GA Fan TV. Meath 111, Dublin 219. Dublin record another win in the National Football League, their fifth win of the season, and quite a comprehensive, comfortable, and a bit of a battering in the end for Meath, it must be said. Very, very comfortable result, very good performance from Dublin. I think the best performance from Dublin so far, I would say, this year, albeit Meath were very poor. Very poor. In fact, I thought like their shooting selection at times and their shooting in general was just very, very poor. But I think overall, from a Dublin perspective, you have to be happy with that performance. We came out fast, we started fast, and I suppose the difference in this game compared to a lot of the other Dublin games so far this year has been that we didn't slow down in the second half, and we didn't sort of even playing against the breeze, we still outscored Meath. We still, outran them and controlled the game. And even some of the the new fellas who've come in, like Killian O'Gara, like brilliant performance from him. He scored 1-3. It's been that kind of thing with Dublin the last couple of years. You're looking for lads to come in and make an impact, and not just the same faces, because you want that competition to be there. You want these lads to be there so they can come off the bench and maybe make a bit of an impact. But no, look, I thought it was very, very commanding, comfortable. Even Colin Basquel, when he came on, I thought looked lively. He's been a player who's been on the fringes, and we're not really sure, is he good enough for Dublin, or I don't really know. But you seen him when he set up that second goal, like lovely run and setting that up as well. And Lee Gannon, fantastic, a wing back, two very, very good points. And I thought he played very well, almost playing in midfield at times. I thought he had a very, very good performance. Owen Merchant was very good. Brian Fenton, I thought, was very good as well. 4 points from him. He keeps on scoring. Con O'Callaghan was excellent as well. Getting a couple of points, but setting up plays around them, sort of being that link man. And even Kieran Kilkenny looked back to his best as well, I felt at times. So it was... it was a very, very good performance from a Dublin perspective. From a Meath perspective, like, I would be curious to know what Meath fans thought of that. Like, I don't know what it was, but it's just, especially with it being in Navan, the first time, as they said on commentary, since 1988 that Dublin are playing Meath in Navan. And I don't know, like, they never really, like, you can see there was a bit of a lack of quality with maybe missing a few forwards, like no Jordan Morris, no Shane Walsh. But I don't know what it was. They just didn't really, well, even I think Jordan Morris was playing, was he? I'm just looking at it here on Scorpio, but I didn't even know, he wasn't really in the game at all. And generally speaking, from a Meath perspective, they lacked a bit of fight, a bit of battle. And there was a few occasions where, there was one moment I remember where there was a big scuffle and the fans were getting up for it, and I think Dublin were ran out over on the sideline. Meath needed to do more of that. They needed to put in heavy hits. They needed to bring the intensity to the game, because the fans would have been up for it, and they were up for it. But what happened was, it was just too soft of a performance from Meath, I felt, and Dublin were able to cut through them time and time again, and tactically as well. Very naive, going toe to toe with Dublin in that first half. There was no real structure about their play, and that's one thing I would say from watching Meath under Colm O'Rourke. I'm not entirely sure, like, what type of team are they? Like, what's their identity? What way do they want to play? It's hard to really know. It seems like they just sort of get the ball, hit it long, and hope for the best. And I think you can kind of see the limitations of Colm O'Rourke's management, in my opinion. Like, he's never managed at this level, in terms of intercounty level. I know he's a very knowledgeable pundit, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, and everything else, knows the game inside and out. But I just don't know if tactically, in terms of winning football matches, it's all there. Look, it's still early days. It's a young team, very young team, and technically they've got some very good footballers. I mean, Matthew Costello, at times looked lively. He scored 1-2. German Moriarty, I was impressed with. I thought Jack Flynn in around midfield had a decent game. And even there was another young lad who came on, Aaron Lynch, I think it was. I think he came on in the second half. I thought he looked quite good as well. And he got himself into some good positions and everything else. But Meath's shooting was just very, very bad. And Like that is the issue. Like they're barely scoring more than 10 points a game, barely scoring more than 10 points a game, and that's, you know, like they need to improve that. Otherwise, they're not. You know, it's hard to really know what level Meath should really be at, because I think a lot of us probably expected where they are. Maybe the opening 2 wins at the start of the season was a case of, you know, slightly overachieving a little bit. You know, as I said, it's hard to know, you know, how far they can go under Colm O'Rourke. But I think all in all, you do have to hold your hats off to Dublin, though. Like, we did play very, very well. It was very hard for me to get in the game. You know, we controlled all areas of the pitch, even in the second half, slowing the game down, you know, in the right way, And yeah, it was just very, very commanding and comfortable. And, you know, racking up a scoreline of 219, you know, I think it's very impressive stuff. And, you know, this is the kind of scoreline performance you normally see from Dublin when they play Meath in the Leinster Championship, for example. So, yeah, very, very, very good all around from a Dublin perspective. Still, obviously, a lot of work to be done, and, you know, we can't forget some of the poor performances so far this year. And obviously, depending on the Louth and Cork game, we won't know about promotion, you know, until that game happens. So yeah, you know, it's an interesting one. We'll see what happens with Louth and Cork. If Cork can get the victory, that means Dublin are promoted, and then, you know, I think we should be beating Louth anyway. I think regardless of whether there's anything to play for in that match. But I think at the same time, you know, it was a strong performance. You know, Cormac Costello as well, who I didn't mention, 1-4, great performance from him. He obviously gets the second goal. So it was a good performance from him as well. I think overall there wasn't really any Dublin players who played that I felt had a bad game, you know. So I think all in all, very, very impressive stuff. And from a Meath perspective, yeah, like, I'd be curious to know what Meath fans think who were at the game. I don't know. I just felt like a very flat performance from them, given, you know, what this game meant and the fact it was in Navan and everything else. It felt like that game was in Croke Park. You know, I feel like I've watched that game in Croke Park time and time again, and I felt like Meath didn't make much of the occasion. Like, they felt, you know, far behind early on, and I don't know, there wasn't much battle from them. And look, they're a young side and everything else, and I'm sure they'll learn and grow. And, you know, strength and conditioning wise, you can see they're a mile off the likes of Dublin and a lot of other counties, you know, a lot of the top counties. So that's a lot that they need to work on. But, like, there are good players, and obviously they do have injuries, do have players come back. You know, in around midfield, I thought Jack Flynn was decent, Ronan Jones was all right. So, like, there is positives there from a Meath perspective. It's just, when you look at some of the score lines that Meath have produced, and some of the beatings they've been on the end of, you know, it doesn't look too good, like hammered by Derry, hammered by Dublin. They just look a good bit off where Meath really, you know, should want to be, which is obviously getting out of Division 2 and going back up to Division 1. But it's a young side, work in progress, everything else, and I'm sure they will improve as time goes on. Great result, obviously, for Dublin, as I said. So let me know in the comments what were your opinions on the game. Man of the match, Cillian O'Gara, without question, exceptional. Well taken goal. Couple of lovely points towards the end of the first half as well. And yeah, it was a solid performance, it must be said, from a Dublin perspective. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comments. My name is Aaron. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.